When adding, subtracting, or comparing fractions, we need to make sure we have a common denominator. To find a common denominator, there are two common strategies we could use. The first is by using a ratio table. Let's demonstrate using 1/6 plus 2/5. I'm going to set up a ratio table for each fraction. Ratio tables with columns that go from left to right, with the numerators on the top rows and the denominators on the bottom rows. One way to use the ratio table is by writing equivalent fractions until I find a common denominator. For example, 1/6 changes to 2/12 and 2/5 changes to 4/10. No match yet. 2/12 then goes to 3/18, 4/10 to 6/15. Still no match. If I continue to write equivalent fractions in this skip counting process, I will eventually find a common denominator between both ratio tables. In this problem, my common denominator between 6 and 5 is 30. And since I included my numerators in this process, my new fractions are already created for me. Remember, if the denominator changes, the numerator has to change as well. Now, our new addition problem with common denominators is 5/30 plus 12/30. If I add my numerators together, I get 17/30 as my answer. The second way I can use a ratio table is by multiplying the top and bottom numbers by the same factor. Let's use 1/6 plus 4/9 to demonstrate. If I list the multiples of 6 and 9, I'll find that 18 is the least common multiple between 6 and 9. To change my denominator of 6 into a denominator of 18, I need to multiply 6 by 3. This means I also have to multiply my numerator of 1 by 3 because this will keep the relationship between my numerator and denominator the same, creating an equivalent fraction. To change my denominator of 9 into a denominator of 18, I need to multiply 9 by 2. This means I also have to multiply my numerator of 4 by 2. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to do to the top. This creates the new problem 3/18 plus 8/18, which equals 11/18. Now, when you were using the ratio table, you may have noticed some patterns that you could use to make this process of finding common denominators faster and more efficient. This is the second method to finding common denominators. Let's use 5/7 minus 1/3 to demonstrate. If I multiply my denominators together, this will give me a common denominator between the two fractions. It may not be the least common multiple between the two denominators, but it's still common. 3 times 7 is 21, so our common denominator will be 21. Now, I can cross-multiply a denominator with its opposite numerator, which will create my new numerator. Remember, if the denominator changes, the numerator has to change as well. 7 times 1 is 7, and 3 times 5 is 15. This creates the new problem 15/21 minus 7/21. If I subtract my numerators, I get 8/21. Remember, whatever you do to the denominator, you have to do the same thing to the numerator, and creating common denominators is the only way you can add, subtract, or compare fractions.